All right, trade recap number two. On outside of the setup, unfortunately today we did lose. It was a smaller loss, but it was still a loss nonetheless. I believe the trade I took was really solid, to be honest, and I'm very surprised it failed. But it's okay. I'm only down $200 on the live account and about 400 total across my fundeds. Not a big deal. I mean, yesterday we had a pretty big day, so let's go over just the trade that I took. So actually, just because this does get really buggy, I'm just gonna do it like this. The trade I took was this short right here after a pretty clean continuation, I would say. My final target was gonna be previous day low, which I think we will get to eventually. Maybe not today, or maybe tomorrow. And yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate because we did get stopped out, and then price did go to our take profit, which is not ideal. But it's one of those days that it's just difficult to read. I mean, it's very difficult because there's a lot of people that took it short all the way up here, and I really could not see why. Anyways, coming into today, we did have CPI, which always does make price behave a little bit differently. Therefore, I was much more keen on waiting for a clear setup and also going half risk because of stuff like this, where we did have basically nothing but consolidation overnight. So you can see on the 15-minute, we did have nothing but consolidation overnight, which is fine. It's not a big deal. And I thought New York would distribute, maybe manipulate and then distribute. However, we didn't end up doing that, and it was just very difficult. I think we're still stuck in this pretty large range. It doesn't look like we want to escape it anytime soon, which is not ideal. But I feel like over the next couple of days, maybe the end of this week, because of CPI and everything going on, and NFP was the last week, I believe that it will come back to, more normal price action where we can capitalize on bigger moves like the one that I capitalized on yesterday. On the hourly, we did have this 1 hour for value gap, and then we also had this 4 hour for value gap all the way down here, which were part of my targets. At the same time, on the 15-minute, the one thing that I will be kind of like open about is I knew that we had a 15-minute gap here, and I'll explain my trade in a second. But it's just like this isn't really valid because we already tapped into it and delivered from it. Therefore, I don't think this has any more intention of actually pushing price higher. But anyways, so coming into the open, we essentially just rallied up until the open where we came up, took data highs, and then took out Asia highs as well, where I thought we were going to come up and take out these like previous day highs, I believe it is. Yeah, I thought we were going to come up and take out these previous day highs, but we didn't end up doing that, and I was very surprised because we did form pretty clear bullish price action. I mean, we did see what I would call a very solid idea of a trade where if we retrace into this 5-minute range and then we had a strong closure up here, I did consider taking a trade if we had gotten a strong closure above here, but since we did close way past where my entry would be, I didn't decide to take it, and it was also just not super clear that this was the direction we wanted to go because I was more overall bearish for the day. But at the same time, once we did flip this 10 a.m. candle right here and I saw a move up, I thought we were just going to continue higher. So I was waiting for this actually. I was very much keen on taking this trade right here. So we move up, we move down, we move up. And I thought we were going to close above here and then we can target both of these previous day highs. That's what I thought was going to happen. My shift of bias only came when we disrespected this large 1 minute like shift in structure, because a lot of people took this trade, which I don't really understand why. I see that, I understand the theory behind it where you flip this 1 minute gap, but to me that shows no clear indicator that price wants to continue lower, because if you look at price action from that point forward, let's say here from your entry forward, this to me just looks like it wants to move higher. I mean, we are making a pretty clear bullish direction, and we also have a clear intentions higher. We at the same time we flipped this 1 hour gap right here. Therefore, bullish price action was absolutely in order. So shorting against that, in my opinion, is not really worth it when you have very clearly intentions higher. But I mean, I guess it ended up working in the right favor, and I am a little bit frustrated because I would have taken a much better trade if it wasn't for this individual candle at 1023. My original trade idea was to see both of these 1 minute like displacement gaps get disrespected, right? And ideally get a closure somewhere within this range right here, where I would have put my stops at probably these highs right here, and then my take profit down here, because it seemed like a very, very solid trade. Like, I would be super happy with taking this trade. And unfortunately, this candle kind of ruined the party, because we, you know, we didn't really didn't get any retraces or anything. We just had a giant push down, and we are setting up really beautifully. Now you may ask, why did I not enter above this? Because of the same reason that these two candles pushed us higher. We were very easily setting up for longs followed by this, so I didn't want to take the chance and gamble my way to shorts. Now the trade that I did take, I would say, is very solid, because if you look, and I guess I'll explain it from here. If you look at this 1 minute displacement gaps, I'm not taking shorts here because we could easily bounce higher. Now, unfortunately, the next candle does rip way past this, so I can't capitalize on that. I'm not entering while the candle is live. I enter when candles close because it confirms the move. Therefore, I wasn't super keen on taking the trade up here. Now, in theory, could have I taken this? Could have I taken something like this? Yeah. Looking at it now, I very much easily could have. I could have taken this right here for a 1 to 1.5. Would have been a pretty solid trade. And I felt like, it wasn't worth it, because what I did think in my mind is if we saw the next candle push up into here, I would take the trade. We unfortunately didn't get that, but what did happen is the following. We made continuations lower, disrespecting this low right here, and we made a pretty clean retrace up into the following gap. So look, we make this retrace up into this gap where you might say, and originally I guess this would have been the right idea, I could have easily taken a short, like I guess somewhere around here with this stop, right? But I'm not doing that because at this point we do have these 5-minute gaps and 50-minute gaps that could send us higher, and given how price has been behaving during CPI historically, I want to see confirmation. So once I saw this 1-minute gap open up, I was like, you know what? Since we're very clearly bearish, we have pretty clear targets. I don't think we're going to stall before we get to this low. So I waited for a closure past it. We actually got a really solid entry on this because it wasn't even below this low. And my stops were above this 1-minute gap, which, why was it there? Because I felt like this was a very strong displacement point where I don't think price would have wanted to continue higher out of it if we wanted to seek lower. This essentially was the trade that I took, with the theory being, pretty clear continuation move lower with an inverse value gap right here to kind of confirm a move. This would not be the best of the best trade. But we do have, fair value gap, a reaction. We do have inverse fair value gap. And I'm going to say this is pretty clean structure. Therefore, I was happy with taking the trade. Unfortunately, initially we do move lower. And I got a lot of confidence in this when we started making these moves lower. I really just thought we were going to continue ripping lower, 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 lower. I did not think we were going to see a stall higher. Because if you look at this right here, look at the 5-minute. The 5-minute completely flipped. We are disrespecting all of these 5-minute gaps. On the 15-minute, sure, we haven't flipped it, but we're trading all the way down here. So I didn't think that a gap that was all the way up here would make us react higher. Unfortunately, price stalls and stalls and stalls and just kind of chops around, takes us out, and then moves lower, which is really unfortunate, because if I had taken the original trade that I had, the original trade idea that I had, I would be super chilling in the sense of, even if I had a bad entry, I would not have been stopped out because I would have been all the way down here. It is what it is. It's one of those trades that is going to happen. These are days that are going to happen. I feel like the edge and the direction was super clean and very clear. I unfortunately didn't get the entry that I wanted, but I'm not mad about taking this trade down here because it was a very clean continuation short. So, it's just one of those days that delivery is not going to be the best. We also got the direction correct. Price did end up going to our low of day, which is our take profit 1. So, I guess you could take that as a win, quote unquote. And next time I'll be sure to, if I believe in shorts, try to find another better entry within this whole range. But yeah, that's basically it. Price continued moving. I decided to lock out of my accounts because it is a half risk day and I already risk half. I don't feel like there's any reason for me to continue trading after a half risk day, especially during CPI, where I really don't think price is going to move. I mean, obviously, yeah, now we're ripping lower, but it's not worth me. I'm not going to say it's worth me taking the trade, but it is, it is what it is. It's part of price. I believe that previous day low is going to be our next target down here, but nothing you can do about it now. So yeah, that's basically for the trade recap. Small little loss. Tomorrow we'll catch a bigger win with, I believe, is a no news Thursday. And it's going to be a little bit more difficult because I will be driving, but I can still try to make it happen. That's it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.